The Gambia is one of the least developing countries in the world. The Gambia's GDP stood at 21 billion, 38 billion, 42 billion in the year 2022, 2023 and 2024 respectively. Convert those amounts into hard currencies and it will give you a billion digit, unlike other countries that record double digits, triple digits, and some other advanced countries will even give you fourth digit. An average Gambian's net income or salary ranges from $3,000 to $8,000. That will give you a range between $43 to $115 on average. Imagine working for 30 days only to be paid with an amount of money that ranges from $30 to $115. But why is it different from other parts of the world? Stay tuned as we bring you details of this. Before we get into the details proper, let's get this record straight. Since we all belong to a sovereign state, therefore, the state have responsibilities towards us and we also have responsibilities towards the state. That is why one of the former presidents of the United States of America, John F. Kennedy, said, "And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." Therefore, we have responsibilities that we need to fulfill towards the state as citizens or residents. Equally, the state also have responsibilities that it needs to fulfill towards us as citizens and residents. So some of the responsibilities the state has to fulfill towards us include but not limited to good medication, access to healthcare service, some quality basic amenities, quality schooling, to facilitate your movement by building good roads. So those are few necessities that the state need to fulfill towards you as an individual. But in the case of the Gambia, things are completely different. And that is why we are taking this video now. The state is not treating everyone equally when it comes to the distribution of state-owned resources. And then we will get you all this detail as to how that happened. An average Gambian's livelihood and living condition is so low, substandard and uncalled for. 2 or 3 meals per day depending on the household, conditional on delicious food, unaffordable shelter and clothing. But do you know why? Do you know the problem behind all this? We only have one problem, and that problem is what gave birth to all these numerous problems. And the problem is not any other thing but an uneven distribution of state-owned resources. That is the problem. State-owned resources are not evenly distributed among citizens, or perhaps in a very plain language, unequal distribution of state-owned resources. The state has resources that ought to be distributed, that should be used for national development. But now the distribution part of the resources is not even. And that is why huge percentage of the population are on the disadvantaged side. And then a slight percentage are eating on a silver plate. The unequal distribution of state-owned resources is the integral reason most of the politicians are millionaires. And the electorates, I mean the voters, are struggling to make ends meet. Senior government officials and some politicians are driving big cars, living in a very big comfortable mansions. The extravagant lifestyle is visible among politicians and some senior government officials. Now the local people, the underprivileged local people to be precise, are the one affected, are the one with the problem, because these people's earning, what is being designated to them as part of their annual income from the government, it's so low that they cannot afford even the cheapest car. But the problem behind all this is the nature at which state-owned resources are being distributed. It's not equal and it's not even. Now let's look at this in detail and you will understand how allocation of resources happens here in the Gambia. Now the government pays workers, government workers commonly known as civil servants, by using a grading system. This grading system follows a scale. It is called the integrated pay scale. Now this integrated pay scale, it's a piece of scale that contains grades. Now the grades range from grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, grade 6, grade 7, grade 8, grade 9, 10, 11, up to grade 12. Now that is the max. It starts from grade 1 to grade 12. Each and every civil servant must belong to a particular grade at a point in time or any point in time. Each grade is designated with an amount of money at which a worker that falls under that grade will be paid. Each grade contains a calculated sum of money that the bearer of the grade will be entitled with. For instance, grade 1 has a specific amount of money of which the worker that falls under that grade will be paid with. Grade 2 equally, grade 3 equally, up to grade 12. The amounts varies depending on grade. Grade 1 is the least grade and grade 12 is the highest grade. Of course, the amount that is being designated to grade 12 will be far more huge than the amount that is designated to grade 1. Here is the integrated pay scale. According to the government, bearers of grade 1, people that fall under grade 1, are entitled to earn every month $1,613 and every year $19,348. People that fall under grade 2 are entitled to have every month $1,985 and every year $23,811. People that fall under grade 3 are entitled to have $2,353 every month and every year $23,220. People that fall under grade 4 are entitled to have every month $2,707 and every year $43,443. Bearers of grade 5 are entitled to have every month $3,522 and every year $42,660. People that fall under grade 6 are entitled to have $4,466 every year, $53,576. Grade 7 every month $5,546 every year, $66,550. Grade 8 every month $6,704 every year, $80,670. Grade 9 $7,900 every year, $95,217. Grade 10 $9,171 every year, $110,217. Grade 11 every month $10,748 every year, $128,971. Grade 12 every month $12,117 every year, $145,371. Now, having understood the grading system, let's go to the technical analysis. Grade 10, grade 11 and grade 12, those that fall under that grade most of the time considered to be top government civil servants. Every month what they are entitled to, $9,000, $10,000, $12,000 respectively. That is a top civil servant. The least civil servant, grade 1, is entitled to $1,613 every month. Come to think of it, having worked for 30 days only to be paid with $1,613. So you can very well see the unequal distribution of state-owned resources. But that is not the problem. This grading system is not the problem. There is a bigger problem that I will tell you later in the video. As a new worker, where will the government place you? Are they going to place you on grade 1, on grade 2, grade 3, or they are going to place you on the top grade 12? That depends. It depends on the type of laborer you are, 1. It depends on your qualification, 2, and it also depends on your experience, 3. We have a skilled laborer, a semi-skilled laborer, and an unskilled laborer. An unskilled laborer will be a worker or a laborer that has very little education and very little training. Those are unskilled laborers, and most of the cases they fall under grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3. Like cleaners in government departments and agencies, securities in government departments and agencies, messengers in government departments and agencies have very little education, very little training. Therefore, they are placed on grade 1, grade 2 or grade 3, and the government said they are entitled to receive every month $1,613, that is for grade 1 every month, and grade 2 that is $1,953 respectively. For the semi-skilled laborers will fall on grade 4 or grade 5. These are people that have little education but more professional training, like the carpenters, the mechanics, the plumbers. Like all these technical jobs, they are semi-skilled laborers because their job requires little education but more professional training. They fall on grade 4 or grade 5. Now, grade 4 or grade 5 salary, according to the government, they should have every month $2,713 or $3,522 respectively. Now the skilled laborers, these are people that have more education and more training, like the lawyers, the teachers, the nurses, the doctors, the accountants, or the agriculturists. These people fall on grade 6, grade 7, grade 8, or grade 9 at most. From grade 6 to grade 9, they should have $4,666 or $5,546 or $6,704 or $7,909 depending on your grade points, but it ranges from grade 6 to grade 9. For grade 10, 11 and 12, one will attain this grade point based on experience or promotion. Clearly speaking, the grading system in the Gambia here, it's so low because when you look at the international grade points in other countries, it's not compared to our own grading system here. Could you imagine a grade 1 salary for a month will attract $1,000 and some few hundreds? Even grade 12, the highest grade point will attract only $12,000 and few hundreds. But now the uneven distribution of resources where it happens is not entirely on the grade point. Look at this. There are some that earn so much so that what they earn will not fit in the grade point, because the highest grade point is grade 12, and the individual that is in grade 12 is entitled to have $12,117 every month. There are those that earn far more than that. So therefore, those people did not even fit in the grade point. So that is the uneven distribution of resources I'm talking about here. You are a government servant, but what you are paid every month, it's so much so that you don't even belong to the grading system. You are outside of the grading system. The teachers, lawyers, nurses, those are also civil servants, but those people are contained within the grading system. But there are those that are beyond the grading system. Just look at a minister. It could be any minister. Let's say the Minister of Lands, Health, Agriculture, Education, you name them. Any minister. His or her basic salary for a month, basic salary is $50,000. That is what the government says. But then the cleaner is having $1,000 and some few hundreds. Clearly, that is an uneven distribution of state-owned resources. So it will take an individual who is in grade 1 or grade 2 to work for 3 years or more to have an amount of money which is equivalent to a minister's 1 month basic salary. Do you understand that? Like what a minister will have in a month, $50,000. It will take a grade 1 salary undertaker to work that same amount of money for 3 good years. But that is not all for the minister. Other allowances are there. Talking about the responsibility allowance, $45,000. Utility allowance, $45,000. Domestic staff's allowance, $45,000. Residential allowance, $45,000. A minister will pocket more than $200,000 in a month. So that $200,000, it will take a grade 1 or grade 2, grade 3, grade 4 salary undertakers 5, 6 or 7 years to work that out. So the ministers did not even belong to the grading system. The grading system is designed for some specific civil servants. So other civil servants that matters most do not belong to the grading system. Like looking at the president, his monthly salary is $249,000 and some few dollars. Now there is no problem for a president to be paid that amount of money. He or she is the president. Therefore, he has that peculiarity. He should be paid that amount of money. But the uneven distribution is the gap is so big. The highest grade point, that is grade 12, the individual bearing that grade point is having 12,000. The president is having 249,000. The gap is so much so that it has become abnormal. So that is clearly an uneven distribution. And of course, the president attracts other allowances. So the president will harbor more than $1 million in a month, but it will take that teacher or that nurse to accumulate $1 million in a decade or two. So of course, there is no such thing in the world that all servants are paid with equal amount of money. It varies depending on civil servants' experience, depending on civil servants' promotion and their level of education. It depends everywhere you go in the globe. So everything should be contained within the grading system, and then there should be a difference in percentage. But difference in percentage should be reasonable. It should not be abnormally unreasonable. Like a grade 1 salary undertaker having $1,000 and few hundreds as a monthly salary. A president is having $249,000. A minister is having $50,000. The difference and the margin is so abnormal. Uneven distribution of state-owned resources. So this problem will reflect in the market because the minister, the president, members of parliament, the judges, and that cleaner, they all goes to the same market. And prices for goods and services are all the same, no difference. So there will be a problem in the market. What the government can do is to restructure the grading system. In fact, this current grading system needs to be exterminated, and then another new one to be built where all the civil servants will be allocated to their grade points, and there will be this difference in percentage. Reasonable difference, not this huge abnormal difference. What is the way forward for the Gambia with regards to salary, allowances, and other distribution of state-owned resources? Drop your opinion in the comment section.